Easy E, how are we?
Seán E, I'm a little bit fragile. I had a very good Paddy's.
A good Paddy's weekend, a good Paddy's Irish weekend. You weren't even in the country.
No, I brought my revenue elsewhere. Absolutely. Here, if the ministers can go to New York and Washington, I can go to Poland. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I can't argue that. That makes perfect sense. So you're away in Poland for the weekend. Few beers, had a good time, and did you have the whole challenge about this non-hilly Cork Marathon in the back of your head, or did you have the whole IronMan in the back of your head being like, I need to get on this real quick, or what's the story?
Yeah. I had it in my head that it was coming, so I made sure to eat and drink absolutely everything.
So this is the last big blowout weekend, is what you're pretty much saying.
Yeah.
Time to think.
I know we're a running podcast, but if people want to get away for a weekend, go to Wrocław in Poland. 6 of us went out for a dinner one night, and I mean, beautiful stuff. Right. In the main, like, the whole bit of city. And we got 2 drinks and a big dinner each, and it was €120.
My God.
For 6 people.
20 quid each meal.
I think I would have spent that in the Camden if I was watching rugby here. So anyway, the only bit I thought about was today after I ate my last burger in Poland. Right. I was like, oh man, I need to get running. So this is coming at a very good time for me. But yeah, no, it was a good weekend. Ireland had a good result as well. So I felt by watching that I was doing sport as well myself.
Right.
So yeah, no, it was good again. A little bit nervous to be getting back into it tomorrow. The 2 to 3 day hangover is definitely sticking with me. But it's tomorrow being day one, Seán.
Day one. Here, quick question on that, by the way, because I'm starting. Look, I never tell someone to give up alcohol or anything like that, but over this weekend and stuff, parties and all the rest, like I started properly getting the fear of going out and having Mad Bull, because it does take me, because I'm doing my own training stuff, leading towards my own events going on pretty soon. I'm like, if I go on a big mad one, I feel that 2-3 day hangover, and I cannot catch up with myself. I do in an awful way. Do you feel all set and good to go for tomorrow after the weekend you've had? Because I know myself, if I went 2 days straight, 2-3 days drinking with the prices you're telling me over there, I don't think I'd make Monday. So are you conscious of that over the next couple of weeks towards your Cork Marathon? I know we always say, like, have a bit here and there and all the rest and not judging, but hangovers.
So what hangovers? No, they're not good. Like, listen, my mom listens to this. Mom, I was out until about 7 a.m. there on Paddy's.
How I couldn't even do it back in my new college days.
We were very Irish. We started with mimosas for breakfast, and then we went to the zoo to wander around and look at animals for a little while, and then we went for dinner and drinks and cocktails and more drinks, and then before I knew it, I was leaving a nightclub. I think it was 5 o'clock ish.
Oh, so that's not bad at all compared to 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, no, it was 5 o'clock. Now, I was the first to leave the night. I think it was only in the warm-up set for the DJ, but I was like, oh no, I'm gone. So that's the level I went to. And the next day we went paintballing the next morning, and I was like, oh no. And like, I think I was still drunk until someone shot me from close range 6 times, and that took the hangover.
The adrenaline.
Yeah, he nearly lost his life then as well. But yeah, no, it was a really good weekend. I suppose the challenge is a challenge, but it's a lifestyle. And this is one thing I kind of want to get across to Seán. Have I thought about the hangovers and drinks and stuff over the next 75 days? Yes, absolutely. I am giving myself 4 occasions. And I think that's realistic for anyone who's trying to do anything like a marathon or anything. And that's over the next 75 days. So part of my rules for me, one of them is I have 4 occasions. That doesn't mean I have to use them. That just means there are 4 nights where the food will still be good choices, though. This is the difference. It's not a case of today is my day off, it's a big blowout. It's I'm with the guys, it's a wedding on the weekend. You know, I'm at that stage of life. We have to be realistic. These events are coming. Like, so there are 4 occasions. And I have 6 events. So I have to be disciplined at 2 of them. But I have been selective on the ones that I can be like, you know what? That's with the guys. That's one for me. Or, you know, So yeah, I can have 4 occasions. And I think we've so many events, we've so many social engagements, and it's not that peer pressure. It's not that I need it or want it. I would just like the choice. And I could arrive to some of these things and go, no, do you know what? Not today. Okay. And it could be a case of just going for a simple beer and a Sunday with you on one day. So it's just something I think people need to be realistic with. You can't, motivation only lasts so long, but routine and habits last a hell of a lot longer. And if you can be realistic with a plan, which I am, 75 days, it's a very start finish thing. And then it's, okay, now we've go into the IronMan phase of it, but it's realistic and what's coming up in life and stuff. So 4 occasions where I can allow myself, still have to be clean with the food, but I can allow myself a couple of beers.
Just for context for people listening, because you're sounding very fresh, we are recording this late on a Sunday evening, and you are literally just back in the apartment after that weekend you've explained, and you're talking about this 75-day challenge. I don't know how you're doing it. We're going to find out, though, right after we hit the intro music for this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. Let's go. Okay, so big man, you hit it nail on the head there. You're going for a 75-day challenge. You talked about this challenge thing last week. Was it while talking about it, it kind of clicked that you want to do this, or like where did was the inspiration from this 75-day challenge you saw on TikTok? Is it the exact same? It's different? What's going on?
I seen the TikTok, and like everything, Seán, I took personal offense to people who are undertaking this challenge. And like you said, challenge is a challenge, but through all the fad diets I've done, through all the fad workout regimes, this 30 days to get a 6-pack stuff, it's kind of reaffirming that bollocks. Sorry for the language.
Your mother's listening.
Sorry, man, but it is. There's no quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you look at anything, people who want to lose weight and stuff, and they go, okay, I'm going to eat 1,200 calories a day, and then I'm going to lose weight. Like your liver holds mostly like the water and glucose. So in the first week, you're going to lose about 4 kilos, and you're going to feel great about yourself. And then as soon as you stop, everything comes back. So the idea behind my version of the challenge is, like, people can say, yes, this is softer. No, I'm not telling people to do it. This is a me thing. I seen the gimmick. I was like, 75 days. Well, turns out I have 76 days until I run the marathon. So I will rob that. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just going to do something realistic. So some of it is discipline. Some of it is a good kick up the arse for me, because since the hair transplant and stuff, I haven't really been training, did a bit of skiing, and that was the most exercise I've done since the middle of January when I stopped. And it's time now, and it's giving me this. And now that we're talking about it, I have to do it. Because that's motivation sometimes in itself, is letting people know that you're doing it, but then don't be all talk, be all action then after that, So it just so happens there's 75 days until the day before the Dublin Marathon. So the day, the Friday night traveling down, I'm done essentially, and then all I have to do is run the marathon. So that's the idea behind it. It wasn't any logical science. I just have a limited time, but where I have to be disciplined now is my food choices. I can't be lazy, so I have to have motivation for about 2 weeks, because even I noticed trying to get back into things, I was like, look, I'll just put the pizza in the oven because I haven't got the time and all this. So there has to be a little bit of planning. There has to be discipline. And we can go through it in different segments. Let's go training so we don't go on tangents. So,
okay. Sure.
Training initially, I'm waiting for you to give me a masterful gym plan. And that will consist of how many days, Seán, or how many workouts?
Just 3.
And I'll let you talk what I'm going to have to do here.
Yeah, so basically, this is kind of going similar to what I do at the moment. Although I'm at the moment at 4, because you like you said that you haven't done too much in a while except skiing. So jumping you into a 4 or 5 day training plan, gym training plan, to me makes no sense, because you're building towards a marathon. You're swimming, you're thinking about swimming, you're thinking about cycling and everything else. So all you need is 2 to 3 days. Like 3 is probably excessive. You probably get away with either one or 2 full bodies, or if you want to get into the gym 3 times, because it is a challenge. The way I've done it at the moment for you is 2 uppers and 1 lower. But they're short, the 30-minute workouts. The first 2-3 weeks is just your basic exercise, no mad fluff. There's 1 or 2 little challenge things in it just because for yourself, like, reason to come back. Like there's 1 time thing at the end, like a finisher type thing, where you have to do X amount of 4 exercises. using 2 kettlebells. I'll go to that in a second. But then apart from that, it's just your basic split squats that you need for running. It'd be great transfer over that. Just some more posterior work, a lot of back work as well. 1 or 2 things that you were like doing core exercises. So doing some flutter kicks and some butterfly sit-ups. Not that you need to do sit-ups or coring like that, especially with the exercise you're doing. A lot of goblet squats before we do barbell stuff, because you haven't touched a barbell in quite a while. So
it's been ages.
Yeah, there's no point in going, okay, Eric, let's go barbell back squats, 5x5 and go max strength because you need max strength. It's like, hey, let's build up to it. Let's get those split squats in at first. Just build up to that single leg strength, because that's going to help a lot quicker with the running. The same time, I don't want to crush it, because if it crush you during these three workouts we do an hour or so, guess what? You're not going to be able to do anything else. You're not going to want to go for that run afterwards. So when you leave the gym after 40 odd minutes of doing this, you should feel good rather than feel wrecked. And that's I was only talking to someone recently about this. I think I brought it up in the podcast because I heard about it that day before recording it. They're like, their friend went to a PT and the PT pretty much rubbed his hands like, oh, you haven't been in the gym since before COVID. Oh, I got you. And he crushed the person. The person couldn't move for 6 days afterwards. And the PT felt great about it. I'm like, that person's not coming back. You lost there and that one, because while you crushed and felt good, like anyone can crush it. I can give you an exercise right now. We'll go Bulgarian split squats. Let's go 20 each leg. Let's go 5 sets. Before anything else, that's going to crush your legs. And there's absolutely no point in it. But some people out there think, great, they can't walk after one of my sessions and have the ego with it. And it drives me up the wall. So basically, full body exercises, we're going to hit front of your legs, back of your legs, chest, back, shoulders. And because we're two guys who like to have the odd beer on a Sunday, definitely arms thrown in there as well.
Yeah.
Just because you have to do it. As runners, you have to do bicep. I have you doing 100 bicep curls on one of the days.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful.
But let's say you crush yourself doing bicep curls. That's not going to stop you from running. So the finish is kind of like that. It's not going to stop you from there. Even the full body finisher on the other day, I think it's 2 light kettlebells. I think I have you doing front squats into squat thrusters, which is full squat, punch to ceiling, reverse lunges, and then it is bent over rows, so it gets the quads a bit of a break. And you do 12 reps of each of them, and then you do 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. So it gets easier, but obviously your arms getting tired. But you're talking about 8 kilo kettlebells. And because you're in that front rack position for all of them except bent over row, you're working your core as well. So, but it's that nice little challenge. Go, okay, I've got 6 rounds to finish this. It gets easier each round. Let's try and get through this 3-4 minutes, set a time on it, and then something to beat. So having those little goals, because you've obviously got the big goal of doing the Cork Marathon. You might have a time on it, who knows? But you have those little gym goals that it's true as well. And there's different things with push-ups and stuff in there as well. But nothing too fancy or anything like that. It's just your typical full body workout.
And people might be wondering, like, where he's going with this. This is the official live Seán telling me what I have to do. I've been on the beer all weekend, so I just kind of save time by getting out of the way during the podcast. But so training, you have all heard what's expected from Coach Seán of me for the next 75 days. There will probably be some changes in that, but in terms of training, the idea is 2 times per day.
2 times per day?
Yeah. But here is the realism, okay? Because the 75 hard challenges, you're supposed to do 45 minutes of exercise per day, all right? I'm doing 2 training sessions, and this is where people need to add in realism. On the training list will include running, swimming, gym, yoga, walking.
Yeah, okay.
So the minimums I have, because I want it to be purposeful exercise, it has to be for 30 minutes at a minimum. My runs are going to be longer, my swims are going to be longer, and cycles are going to be longer. The gym is going to be 40 minutes. And where it becomes important is, if I'm saying I'm doing yoga, then I'm doing at least 30 minutes of proper stretching and engrossing in it and giving it a good go. If I'm going for a walk, I'm not just walking to the shop. I'm getting dressed, I'm going for a purposeful walk. I might listen to an audiobook, use it as 30 minutes of educational time. But there will be times you're not supposed to be running, you're not supposed to be doing that, and you need to probably move is the idea, or do some purposeful. And it's not prescribed, because you have to listen to your body. So if I'm feeling really bad after week 1, wake up the next day and go, Gym's not happening. Okay, yoga, 30 minutes. Because now it's about how quickly can you recover and maybe take a second yoga walk day. It's not that I'm soft, it's unrealistic. There's 75 days I need to be injury-free every single day to get to this goal. And that's where we have the selection. So I have 3 workouts to do from you. I have swimming, I have cycling, I have running, I have yoga, I have walking. I have to do any of those 2 every single day, twice a day between now and the marathon.
Does running take precedent though, because you've got 75 days to Cork Marathon?
Cork Marathon is a small chink in a long road to an Ironman. So not necessarily, no. There'll be a bit of cycling in there as well, because I will take pressure off the knees and I'll be training the heart on the bike. Likewise, getting into water, like if I have a heavy run day, get into the pool for 30 minutes that night. I'm not pounding the pavement all the time. And then trying to balance it. So usually if I'm going on a run, it's quite more intense than the other 2. I can probably get longer out of. So I'll probably do gym in the morning, run in the evening. And then I'll pair cycle with swim, and then I'll have my yoga with walk maybe on a Sunday. We'll see how we go.
Does that mean then a lot of this stuff, with the running and stuff, like, are intervals out this side of the Cork Marathon then to get faster later? Or intervals are still in?
There's going to be intervals, yes.
So on a day you're doing intervals, you're obviously not going to hop in the gym later on that day, or it's going to be an upper body day maybe, or then like yoga and stuff then. So
yeah, that's it. So if I've had a heavy leg day in the gym, intervals are not going to be happening. That's the night when I get into the pool. That's where I get into the pool. You're using different muscles, all arms. I'll putting the pull buoy between my legs and just using arms, developing the arms and shoulders as we're working through. So this is why I'm trying to explain to people, there's no prescribed. It's what is working best with the other, and listening to the body. It's the only thing you can do. Everyone is different. Someone might be able to do an arm day that morning, go out and do their intervals that night. So it's a case of just managing how the body is feeling, and then adding the appropriate training to keep getting something done every single day.
When you initially go, I'm going to train 2 times a day, 75 days, when you think about it initially, you go, Mike, that's a hell of a lot, even if you do walks and stuff like that. But then when you break it down, you're actually talking about 7 hours a week, broken into 30-minute sessions. Like, so you could do 30 minutes in the morning doing something and 30 minutes in the evening. And when you, like, it's reminding me of talking, well, I know we always talk about Goggins, but it's like his pull-up challenge, like 4,000 pull-ups. You're like, that's impossible. And he's like, well, he broke it down straight away to 4 or 5 pull-ups per minute. And you're like, oh, okay, that's a bit more manageable now, and keep going that way. So when you break it down, like you can do 30 minutes in the morning, going for your morning walk and listen to Audible, whatever it is, or yoga or a quick gym session. And then in the evening, you're going for a run. And that's literally that day done. Whereas Sunday might be a longer run, and then you might mix in a bit of yoga and stuff, and that's or a bit of stretching at the end, and that's pretty much your day done on the Sunday if you're going out for like an hour and a half run. Yeah,
so that's it. So it sounds daunting, and people are probably going, that's and this is what I'm saying. This is a realistic thing that sounds scary.
Yeah.
But it will build habits, patterns, stability, consistency. It will build everything you need into a foundation, because as scary as it might sound, this marathon is the foundation for my summer. Right. So the summer is going to be all triathlon after that. Then we're getting into the Ironman. Then we're going out cycling 6-7 hours a day. How am I going to go and cycle for 6 hours, Seán, if I can't do 1 hour a day at a minimum?
Good question.
Do you know, like, How can you get that motivation to go to the gym at 6 just to get your stretching done for 30 minutes and a little bit of resistance work, if I'm going to have the mental power to come home from a day's work in a long summer's evening, get on the bike and cycle for 4 hours? So I'm not at the stage where I want to get on a bike and cycle for 4 hours. So to me, just having the motivation only lasts so long, but initially just having that, get up and do it. I've said it to everyone, I'm going to do it. Stop being soft. Just get out of bed, do 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And once the 30 minutes done, I'll feel better about it. Once I get my first week down, I'll feel better about that. Do you know, and all of a sudden the body will start to remember everything. I'll go into the other mode where it's try and limit me to 30 minutes. That's where I need to get to. And any challenge we've done before, Seán, or anything you've kind of seen the transition of me, the first week or two is hell. After that, then it's, why aren't you going training, Seán? Why aren't we going? You know, like it turns into a different animal. So as you correctly pointed out, it is 7 hours a week, like a minimum. It's a minimum of 7 hours a week. If you're having a bad time, all you have to do is 7 hours in that week. As long as you do it twice a day purposely, That's the only bit that's hard about it. Twice a day purposely. So it's building in, because when you get into Ironman, you can't just be doing the one thing a day. Do you know, like when you're trying to cover that kind of volume, and this is a bit of a background, why 2 a day? Because in order to covering that volume, I need to be swimming in the morning and probably cycling in the evening. I need to be probably running on its own with a bit of gym work. So for the rest of the next 8 months until the marathon, I have to be nearly doing 2 a day. So this is a lot of a nicer way to just get into it, because it's only 30 minutes. Just go over there and do it. It's on the list from Seán. Don't think about it. Just go. And then if I can't do that, lunchtime, make sure you get out for your run, and then maybe get over there in the evening. So I've given myself 3 opportunities in the day, but I want to get the morning done, because what is really difficult is getting out of bed. But what you realize after a week or two is the mornings are your own. Nobody rings you. Nobody's looking for you. Nobody's texting you. And that's in my case. I've no kids. Obviously, if you kids, they are hunting you since 5 a.m, and that's a different animal. But for me, in my life, and this challenge for about what I can do between the hours of 6 and 8, that's me. No one's looking for me. No one cares about me between 6 and 8. After that, they can do what they want with me. And after 7 o'clock in the evening, they can all go away again. So because your lunchtime is not really yours, you know, and work, things can happen. Something comes up. Everything's always last minute, and everyone's in a hurry, and so you can get stuck into it because things need to be done. And particularly for me, we could be on a call to Galway, and then we get 3 more calls that day. We never make it back to bed. Not that we can't train anyway during our 12 hours. So I have to get used to getting up in the morning, and I have to get used to just training in the evening. So that's what I'm trying to limit myself to. So that's training, Seán, in a nutshell. And I'm not going into the nitty gritty of I'm going to be doing easy run Monday and this and that. It's a minimum of 30 minutes. It involves those 5 disciplines I've described, and using them as tactfully as possible. Like this first week could all be easy runs. I could get through the week and go, whoa, I am under pressure. Big boy, you put on a few kilos. Yeah, okay. But come next week then, start getting the body moving, start going, all right, I know what I'm about now. And that's when the heavy intervals start coming in, the real work starts coming in. Because again, you can't go from not doing anything and just go, right, intervals, gym, you know, you have to be tactful about and realistic. And as you've said, you don't want to crush your soul in the first 2 days. You don't want to get to Wednesday and go, I can't move. I'm too tired. Can't focus and work. So you have to be tactful in how you take on your first week. Start building the body, letting it work with you as well through the first week. So it's definitely a case of week 1, get used to getting up, get used to doing it twice a day, 7 hours at a minimum. And come week 2, then it's time to stop being soft on myself. The body is starting to move with me again. It usually takes me a week to kind of get back into it. But that's the reality of what we're going to do.
Well, the way you started this one, you went, okay, first thing training, which leads me to believe you've got other things in this 75-day challenge. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, so the other stupid one, it says be on a diet. And then in asterisks underneath it, it says contact a nutritionist if you're going to do this. So, like be on a diet is a horrible thing to say to people, because what is a diet? Like there's all sorts of diets out there. You have your, you call them, I don't know what they call them, Seán, like 60-20s, where 60% of the week you eat this, and then you have intermittent fasting, and you have all these other things that is just calorie deficits and can be dangerous for people. If people are overweight and they were to eat what they were supposed to eat, so say 6 foot male, 80 kilos, 2,000 calories, basics, right? Thereabouts. That's probably too little based on their activity.
Agreed.
If they were to just eat the 2,000 to 2,500 calories that their body weight is kind of aimed at, over 6 months, they'll lose that weight. But if they were to do on Fridays, I only eat 600 calories because on Saturday I allow myself 4,000 calories. You're teaching your body to, like, your body doesn't know that you're just choosing not to eat. Your body thinks you're being starved. And then it's like, right, I'm storing everything. We're in a time of famine. This is panic stations. So this is where I don't like that the 75 hard is like, be on a diet. Like, you know, be specific. So I'm going to be specific.
Sure.
My diet has to be unprocessed, with a couple of exceptions that are just difficult and time consuming. So pasta and bread. So But what I will do is I will have as whole grain or as I only really eat whole grain or sourdoughs. I don't really go into your sliced pans and stuff. So that's what I have to do. So if I want chicken nuggets, I have to make them myself. If I want chips, I have to make them myself. And they'll be done in the oven. You're not trying to deep fry them using any oils. It's olive oils. It's not. So taking the process out of food, and I have to make it myself. If I'm going for dinner, you have to make the best choice. So not getting the chips, unfortunately, I have to get the side of veg. I have to, like it's like if I'm having a burger, for example, I'll try and get, I'm not gonna like just
burger, no bread.
No, like that's the thing. Processed. The only thing I'll allow myself is bread, because let's be honest, I'm training 2 times a day, so you can't.
Yeah.
You have to be realistic about where you're getting your carbs, but the sugars are gone. I didn't make that chocolate. That's gone. Like I have to control everything else. So when you're trying to control your weight, there's a lot of things that you have to try and look at as well. And you can go into it like in any look. There's you control insulin, regulation with the sugars you're getting in. So don't be having insulin spikes. Get rid of your sugary, shitty like cereals and stuff like that. Like get into the hearty foods that the sugar breaks down over a longer period of time. Stop having the spikes. And then take an omega-3 now, because in Western, like we can do another episode on this, Seán, where you go into the detail of omega-6 and omega-3 and the ratios and how that has an influence on your weight. So basically anything that's been cooked is made here in the house. And like, so for example, saying no breads, but I'm going to make my own protein banana bread, or I can make oat bread. So I can have them as my fillers during the day. But for the likes of breakfast, I do like my whole grain bread with my eggs. I do make homemade burgers. I'm not going to put them into whole grain breads or, start making my own buns. So there is the couple of exceptions. And pastas, I'm just not going to be making my own pastas. I'd rather have the bag there, whole grain, and someone else has done that work for me. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But that's where we draw the line. It's those kind of, they add a level of complexity that I'm just, convenience is what I'm trying to be realistic with. But yeah, the likes of your takeaways and stuff, they'll all be made at home. There'll be spice bags, but it'll be homemade. And like everything else is normal with that. So that's the idea behind it, really, Seán, is in terms of food is to be clean eating.
Right.
And like I'm telling you now, I'm gonna eat 20 chicken nuggets some night as a snack. And I'm going to make some spicy sauce out of cream cheese and use a vinegar base like Frank's hot sauce or something. And then I have a taco sauce to dip it into, so I'll post a couple of dishes as I go. I'm not going to go into too much details, but the challenge for me now is if I want it, cook it. And if I'm out for dinner, make the right choices. Get the meat and 2 veg. Don't get there's nothing wrong with a burger. A burger is still mince, it's what else is in it is the problem. Whereas if I'm making it myself, at least I know what's in it. I know the percentage fat in the mince, and fat isn't a bad thing. In fact, I'll probably eat the fattier of them, given the amount of training. So don't be afraid of fats in food either. Is it probably another episode?
So you've had your burger, you've gone out for a restaurant with yourself, and you're having a good time. You're on the water, and you finish the burger, felt really good, and the waitress goes or the waiter goes, dessert menu, sir.
And this is where it's difficult. I am a big cake man.
That's why I'm asking.
I am a big cake man. But other ways around that for me will be fruits. Because you have to think of, why am I hunting that cake? It's what is it? The body's like, whoa, lots of calories in there for nothing. So for me, taking on board a little bit of fruits, the water itself, like drinking plenty of water, and that's a challenge in itself. There'll be 3 liters of water a day. So taking on, and when I say water, this is where I'm realistic with people. That can include, so I'm saying 3 liters of liquid.
Right.
So if I have a coffee in the morning, I'm not saying drink 10 coffees either. Oh, see, I don't drink tea or coffee, so it's a bit different for me, but I'm trying to be realistic for other people. Like I drink my waddy. So I'll drink my waddy, because I'm getting in the liquids that I need. I also drink milk. I'll drink a pint of milk. There's 500 ml of liquid that's going in. So like, I'm not trying to do the farmers out of that by my 75-day challenge, but it's it's being realistic that as long as you're constantly thinking fluids, like getting in your green tea, 250 ml per cup, you're slowly ticking it over. then 3 liters doesn't seem like such a challenge as long as you're fluid focused. So having a coffee in the morning is 250 ml, but make sure to chase it with a little bit of water as well. You know, like, and once you're kind of fluid focused, eventually after 75 days, you're thinking fluids. Then you can start going, oh man, we need to be taking on more water. Now we're actually drinking the 3 liters of water a day plus everything else, you know, when we're training demands. And that's the idea behind it. It's just for me, just be liquid focused, just be fluid focused, keep thinking. And if someone offers me a tea, I'll actually can I get a hot blackcurrant, or, you know, like something along those lines where I'm like, this is an opportunity to get 250 ml in, you know. But and it's easy for me. I don't drink tea or coffee. The only reason I drink tea is if I can have a packet of biscuits with it. But yeah, it's just to start getting them thinking about fluids. So most of mine will be a large bottle of water with a dash of something in it, and away we go.
I know it's a 75-day challenge and the goal is to make 75 days, but are you concerned with the lack of flexibility, or is there lack in terms of, like, you're struggling one day for whatever reason, shit day at work, you barely get the session, you got another session going, it's near the end of the week, and that kind of idea of a treat, or normally, like you used talk on the podcast before about Friday night was your night where you had treats and stuff like that. Are you concerned where are you going to get that treat from, because you said processed and chocolates and all are out, or it's just like, I just have to hit this 75 days and that's the focus? And by the way, just that short, I don't mean, it is in the grand scheme of things, it is short term, but in the middle of 75 days, I suppose an extra 30 odd can seem like a long time.
There is one caveat that I have to be careful with, and one that I was thinking of considering, and it's based on what I can start getting my calorific intake into. If I start to notice I'm starting to burn too much and we're halfway through, there is protein puddings that are in Lidl and Aldi. And I have to say they are absolutely amazing. I know they're processed, but in terms of, like, I'm going to take whey protein, so that's processed, you know, like I'm going to probably treat them as a training supplement, which could act as a treat for me, because they have this, like, chocolate mousse is huge, but it gives nearly, I can't remember the figures, above 20 grams of protein as well.
Oh yeah.
Its sugar content is very low. It is, you know, it's a pretty good replacement snack rather than eating a dairy milk and stuff. So I'm just kind of thinking of that as a protein shake more so than that. So if I'm going to cheat with anything, it is probably the one element now that we've talked. Do you know what? Let's just say yes. Those little protein things are going to be there, because I know there's going to come a day where I'm like, I haven't eaten enough, I haven't taken on enough protein. It's been a heavier day. I want to feel like I've had something on a Friday night. So the protein mousse is there. And they sell them in Aldi. I think they're 120. And they, to me personally, as good as a protein shake in terms of what it has. They're absolutely brilliant. I always say it.
Hey, they taste great. Like, I'm a big fan of them. The chocolate ones more so than anything else. They taste so good.
Yeah, like, you know, yogurt. I'm not going out and churning my own yogurt as well, but I'm gonna have yogurt. I'm gonna like, there's, when I say no process, I'm not going caveman. I'm not doing anything. I just mean, I'm not going to buy the packet of chicken that's already southern fried. Do you know, I'm not going to buy the packet of crisps. I'm not going to buy. So, like, obviously, I don't make yogurt. I know I can, but I'm not going to do it. I can't make cheese. I'm going to have cheese. So, it's the
they're more nutrient dense, right? Isn't it?
But that's
more
what I'm looking
dense.
at. Yeah.
So you get more out of the food. It's not like good or bad food. It's like most processed, not most, but some processed food. You're getting, it's not even empty calories and stuff out of it, as opposed to if you were to make your own chicken nuggets, you're probably getting more protein stuff out of it than you are if you're going to get 6 them down McDonald's, for example. And that leads towards your training goals. So I'm right in saying that the calories and all is based on how you're feeling for trying to keep up your 30 minutes twice a day and energy levels, as opposed to I'm only saying this because the whole diet thing in a 75-day challenge, there's no restriction on calories. It's more what keeps me going.
No, there's no restriction for me. If anything, my aim is to avoid starving myself.
Right.
I'm gonna try not to snack as much though. I'm going to try and have. No. Like, I'm 90. I'm afraid. Do you know what? I was 94 before the weekend.
Before Poland.
I'll weigh myself. I'll take a photo. We'll do all the before and after, the whole shebang. But
right.
Do you know what? I don't, and we've said this before, I think 88 kilo would be my lowest I want to go to. I ran a little bit and I did a little bit and I was 82 kilos and I just looked unwell, 6'4" and 82 kilos. It just didn't suit me. I didn't feel strong. I felt fast. I just didn't feel strong. Everything you do training is to make you feel good. Yeah. And I think I'm happy around 90 kilo. I think I'm a very happy man around then. So yeah, somewhere between then, obviously with the muscle work through your training sessions, the bike, I'm going to build legs. So that will be easy to maintain that weight and a bit of size and stuff. Because once I offload a good bit of the fat, replace it with a bit of muscle, a denser 90 kilo is a hell of a lot better than the fatter 90 kilo. So to be balanced somewhere around there between 88 and 92. And look, I know it's a podcast. You can wake up in the morning and be 92 and after a little filing of paperwork, you could be back down to your 90. So you have to be a little bit realistic as well. So there's a 4 kilo kind of bracket there where I want to live my life. And that's right. We've had a couple of weeks off, 92, get back going again. You're down to 88. All right, start eating more. So you've seen it with me before, Seán, when I did the summer training. I was dropping kilos by the day.
Yeah, and it's scary. It shouldn't happen.
No, terrifying. But I can be that disciplined with food and reduce things and stuff and get that down. But this time I want to do, yes, am I being disciplined with food? But I don't want to be hungry. Like I went to bed hungry a couple of times, which is not good. So, and that's the aim of what we're trying to do with the food. Like, and you know, like it's like bread, when we're taking the process out of it, like you're realistic with it. You know, like you're not going down the biscuit aisle and picking up the biscuits. You're not picking up the crisps. Even I'm trying to find other examples of where I'm trying to take the process out of it, but unless it's in its near raw stage or it's something that's of convenience, like a pasta or bread that I eat, but make the healthier whole grain choice with, that's what I'm trying to do. So if we end up going out for a restaurant and I get the meat and veg, well, that's similar to what I would have. The process is someone else cooked it for me. Yeah, they might have added in some butter, no problem. That's good fats in for me. You know, like it's being realistic, but picking the better quality one as well, looking at the back and making sure there's better quality going into it. But it's being realistic, and that's the aim of it. It's not to cut everything out and then I'm never going to want to keep that. Do you know, I'm never going to want to live that way. So yeah, that's the aim. And I'm going to get very creative with some of my dinners and stuff and start to get, you know, like making my own pulled pork now and, you know, like just getting back into that kind of thing, you know.
So you fit training, you fit nutrition. Is there anything else in this, or is it these two, the main two for the 75-day challenge?
And so the water. So I know that's part of nutrition, but it's fluid focused. And then the last thing that 75-day challenge adds in is read 10 pages of a book every day. So I was thinking of this one, and I think it can be done every night. But the bit I am going to look at is reducing my social media time. So if I find myself on the phone for a certain period of time, then I need to say, no, we could be reading, we could be doing this, we could be doing that. So what I've said is 10 pages of a book is random. Like I have the Mr. Men collection, so that's easy. But no, my aim is I have to do something that betters me every day. If that is reading the book, that is reading the book. If that is researching something else, a different nutrition thing, or if I'm listening to the audiobook, so it can be an audiobook, it can be a book, it can be whatever the day throws at, because there can be days where you're 10 pages is easy, and maybe I should stick to that, I don't know, but I listen to an audiobook for a half hour every day, so have I not educated myself for another half hour? You know, like, so technically some people don't do that. Some people will listen to their music all the way in, so but I'm kind of cheating because I do that anyway. So it is a different one. But I tell you what, I have 2 or 3 books there just for the sake of making something difficult. I will read 10 pages every day. I'll match the only bit of this challenge I think is okay. I'll read 10. I'll read 10 pages of a book every night.
So speaking of this challenge, one thing that stood out when you talked with us last week was at some stage during this challenge, a lot of people go on TikTok and they get the camera out and they look dead in the camera and they say, hey, I failed the 75-day challenge. My question to you is accountability. What is the accountability for this challenge? And do you have a similar process? Because I know you hate this challenge in terms of that kind of thing as well. So what happens on a fail day, if there is a fail day, not to set you up for failure, and what is the accountability for these 75 days that keeps you on track?
For me, the accountability is not a video on an Instagram. Sure, if I never posted a video on Instagram, you wouldn't know anyway.
That's true. No, I'm not saying it should be that, by the way. No, and just for people listening, we actually haven't talked about this, so I don't know the answer.
But this is where I'm realistic, and this is where my support network comes in. So
right.
I'm going to shake Katie's hand tonight, and I'm saying, this is it. It's game on. And I'm virtually shaking your hand tonight to say, it's game on tomorrow. So I'm not just letting me down. I'm letting the contract I've made with you and Katie down.
Right.
And you now know, Katie now knows, I might tell my mom, or you, well, she's listening, Mom, here's the deal. So now when I'm over at Mom's house, right, she's like, no shit for Eric. And then when we're with Katie and I go to that press, she's going to go, oi, fat boy, get over here. And, you know, and then if I'm at a social event with you, you know the sus, and you might go, you know, I'm not drinking tonight either. Mm-hmm. So the idea of making a contract with other people around you for accountability, like everyone who listens to the podcast can find out as well. But if the people who are around me are aware of what I'm doing and I have asked them, actively said, try and keep me honest, they will do their very best to say, here, what are you doing? Put the chocolate down. He's like, oh no, yeah, I didn't even notice. I just woke up like this. But it's but that's the idea. Look, I get why people use Instagram, and it's just a means for accountability. I get why people do everything else. But for me, my loyalty is to people around me. And it would hurt me more to let people down than it would to just eat chocolate and post it up and go, good luck.
Yeah, I failed.
3 days in. Nom, 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 nom. I couldn't care about people that I care about people who listen to the podcast, obviously. But as in your opinion of me, I won't lose sleep over it, really. If you get me, like as in, if I eat chocolate, I haven't ruined their life. But if I eat chocolate, I can't lie to you. I can't lie to Katie, and then I can't stick to something I said I was going to do. And definitely, she won't give me an inch. Like she will use it against me. She'd be like, no, you said you were going to do it. Yeah. So, and that's real life accountability. That's realistic. Not everyone wants people looking through their window. And that's essentially what Instagram is. Like, not everyone wants that kind of thing. Personally, I'm very bad at doing all the Instagram for the podcast, hence why your face is everywhere. But I will post. I'd like to say I'm going to post every gym session. I might do, them highlight reels. I'll put them up, maybe tracking the 75 days, I'll see. But I don't want to guarantee to that because I don't do social media a lot anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not that's not a positive reinforcement for me. Be on social media more. So. But I will. I'll start taking active photographs. I'll start, if I think of it, I'll throw it into the stories. If I miss one of the story mornings because I'd rather work out and figure out how to do a reel, not the end of the world. But yeah, I'll start throwing it up into the stories and maybe just give a synopsis of what I did in text of 40 minutes swimming this race, or, the RPEs, perceived effort, this, and this. So if people are interested, I can give one or two of the workouts go. But again, this is me. It does not suit everyone. It's probably not for everyone, but it's 75 days of it, and the only benefit is I get fitter, I get smarter, I learn a new dish or two, and it's all positive. But the most important thing, and I know I've said it again, but it's realistic. It's realistic for me. 7 hours a week. It's just better choices. That's where the motivation comes in. It's better choices with food. It's better preparation. It's better thinking ahead, getting the shopping done on a Sunday and planning. Don't let busy be the excuse. Be prepared to be busy. And then everything else is just routine. And that's the idea behind it. And it can be done. It can be done. And it'd be interesting to see. It'd be Like I even, just you feel it when I'm sitting on the plane on the way back. You just feel the belly over the belt. You're like, oh man, I need to go training.
This could have started a better time for you.
Yeah, well, look, half of me knew that as well. So I was like, right, have at it, world. This is it. But it's, but yeah, I think I've covered all that. I know it's a real, I don't know, random episode. It's just me telling you the plan. But I don't know what people can take from it. I don't know, like, are people just think I'm nuts or, but if there's anything to take off, it's just set a goal for you, be realistic about it. Like, even we only touched on it, but the 4 days, like, that's 4 days I can go drinking with the lads. But it doesn't have to be every weekend. Like I have to be, like, I can't go out every weekend. That's just stupidity. If I'm doing all this work and going drinking every weekend. So there's the realism, is there's no stupidity in it, but there's events coming up. Like I said, I've 6 of them, 4 of them. So I have to make choices. So it's not easy. The easy option is just say, oh, well, all them events are fine. It's not. I have to make a choice now for 2. And as my confidence builds and we start seeing progress, I might say, well, look, I don't care about the others. I'll pick one of it, and that's the reality. Now, and this is over a 75-day period. If you were talking about over a whole year, you could say, well, look, I've won a month. There's 12 events in a year. That's a lot. Yeah. That's 1,200 euros if you drink 100 quid a night.
Good way of looking at that, right? That's sounds like an awful waste of money when you put it that way.
And that's why I go to Poland for Paddy's Day.
Yeah, Jesus, 1,200 euro for 12. My God. That's 2 days of hangovers and feeling like absolute crap.
Yeah, and look, and
I'll do it again.
And we will do it again. And after the marathon, we'll do it again. But it's just about the reality. It's about getting value out of me. It's about, and that's the idea. It's I'm the investment for the next 75 days. And if you're listening to this and you're feeling a little bit, like you've let yourself down for a little while, just start thinking, well, look, how do I start investing in myself better? It mightn't be doing training 2 times a day. That mightn't be your thing. But read 10 pages, maybe make your own chicken nuggets. Learn about different foods that work well with your body and stuff, So there's a lot that people can do. The 75-day challenge is just a gimmick infringement, really, because I don't agree with it. But it's a realistic goal. It's a challenge I haven't. You're doing all the challenges. Let's be honest. I have to do something to talk about on the podcast. But it is something. It's something that's not easy. It does sound, now that I've made it sound easy, it isn't. It's not easy. But that's where the challenge comes in. But it's realistic. It's a hard 75-day challenge, but it's realistic that you can kind of go, you're not that tired. You're not feeling that sorry for yourself. Just get out and do it, So, but that's it, yeah. And look, it'll be an interesting journey. I'll definitely learn it. I like my cooking. I cook a wide range of food, but I'm gonna have to learn a hell of a lot more dishes as well now and taste other foods. And it's gonna be a fun experience in that way, because that's how I find it fun. There's no calorie restriction. It's how can I get the most food into my body without it being wasted calories. And that's the idea. That's the idea behind it. So your chicken nuggets versus my own ones, I could probably eat 30 of them compared to your 10 at the McDonald's. So it's good.
It sounds like a great consistency challenge, Eric. Best of luck with it. I'm sure you will keep us updated with that on the podcast more so than social media, if I'm totally honest with you. And on that note, unless you got anything else to add to the challenge last second, we'll wrap up this episode of the podcast.
No, I'm glad we started talking about the Cork Marathon. We get the most messages over this Cork Marathon. There's even someone else texted, I've just been in Cork. It's hilly.
I'm still in shock that Cork Marathon is not hilly, by the way. I'm actually blown away that you're in for a flat. I'm disappointed, actually, is probably the right word, that it's a flat course.
Listen, I did my research. I'm not fool. I knew what I was getting into. But thanks to everyone who does message. We do appreciate it. I was obviously away for the weekend, so I didn't get back to anyone to message over the weekend, but I do appreciate letting us know that I could be in for trouble. But thanks for everyone who's reached out. It's caused a bit of a stir, but we'll keep in touch and see how we go.
And on that note, guys, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Any Given Monday podcast. That's it for myself and Eric. Take care.
Bye-bye.